Welcome to today's Explainer. We've got an absolutely fantastic story to unpack today. It's one that kicks off with the promise of a super fun, totally carefree camping trip, but then bam, suddenly turns into this thrilling test of survival deep in the dark, mysterious woods. We're diving into the core narrative of The Camping Trip Mystery. It's a fascinating kids' adventure that actually brilliantly disguises a really profound lesson about the environment, all wrapped up inside a spooky ghost story. So grab your gear because we're heading straight into the forest to see exactly what we can uncover.
Here's our trail map for today. We'll start with the perfect camping trip, move into Whispers in the Woods, face the Guardian's test, discuss protecting our natural home, and finally wrap things up with courage and responsibility.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the perfect camping trip, setting the scene.
You know, every great adventure starts with a little preparation, right? Our campers are gearing up for what they're calling the best camping trip ever. And they go through this checklist that, honestly, anyone who's ever pitched a tent will immediately recognize. Step 1, you've got the trusty flashlight, absolutely essential for when the sun dips down. Step 2, snacks and a first aid kit, because, hey, you gotta be practical out there. And then, of course, Step 3, marshmallows. I mean, you literally can't have a camping trip without them. This whole checklist grounds the story in such a fun, relatable reality. It's light, it's got great energy, and it makes the campers feel completely safe and secure. But, as any good storyteller knows, you build up that cozy sense of security right before you yank the rug out from under it.
And man, that brings us right to the inciting incident of our mystery. What's super interesting here is the mindset it reveals. One of the campers actually says, "Relax, dear, it's just a forest." That right there, that is the catalyst for everything that follows. See, when one camper urges everyone to respect the woods and stick together, this completely dismissive response perfectly captures this careless, almost arrogant view of nature. It's the ultimate horror movie setup. As the source material playfully points out, that is exactly what people say right before something really scary happens. It just sets the stage perfectly for a massive lesson in respect.
So, let's move on to Section 2. Whispers in the Woods, where the tension really builds.
Okay, notice how the whole vibe of the environment completely shifts here. The normal, comforting sounds of the woods just abruptly stop. It suddenly gets way too quiet. And then, the wind doesn't just howl, it actually begins to whisper their names. Now, the campers try to rationalize it at first, claiming it's just the wind. But the reality quickly sets in. The wind doesn't whisper your name. Then, a shadow appears. The forest is no longer just this nice backdrop for roasting marshmallows. It is actively communicating with them, and trust me, it is not happy.
Try to put yourselves in the camper's shoes for just a second. You're in the pitch black, the trees are literally whispering to you, and there is a shadow moving just outside the beam of your flashlight. So who or what is lurking in the shadows? Is it a ghost? Some kind of monster? The tension is at its absolute peak right here. They realize they are definitely not alone. And that careless, arrogant attitude from earlier, yeah, that has completely vanished.
Which brings us right into Section 3, the Guardian's test, the confrontation.
Out of the darkness comes this booming, incredibly authoritative voice demanding, "Who enters my forest?" Naturally, the campers are absolutely terrified. One of them even tries to immediately nope right out of there, just yelling, "Goodbye!" But when asked why they've come and if they plan to harm the forest, the kids immediately pivot to defend themselves. They're frantically explaining that they're just camping, that they wouldn't even hurt a mosquito, and that they genuinely do respect nature. They realize very, very quickly that they need to prove their worth to whatever the heck is standing in front of them.
And this brilliantly sets up the big twist of our mystery. This scary entity, it isn't a ghost, and it's not some monster trying to eat them. It's actually the guardian of the forest. The Guardian explains that its whole role is to protect the woods from people who are careless and greedy. So that entire terrifying encounter, it was actually a test. The Guardian literally says, many come here without respect. The campers weren't ever in danger of being hunted, they were just being evaluated to see if they were worthy of sharing that space. And once they make it totally clear they mean no harm, the Guardian lets them know they are safe.
This reveals the crucial point in Section 4. Protecting our natural home, which is the core lesson.
This comparison completely reframes how we look at our environment. On one side, we have the careless view, that attitude they started the night with, right? The whole idea that it's just a forest, just a bunch of trees, maybe a place you can just leave a mess without thinking twice. But on the other side, the Guardian gives us the true perspective. The forest is a living home. It's a sanctuary for animals, for birds, and for life itself.
The Guardian successfully shifts the camper's worldview from seeing nature as this disposable playground for humans to seeing it as a vital, breathing community that absolutely demands our respect.
Really grasping this new perspective, the kids make some very specific pledges. They say, "We won't leave any mess behind. We won't break anything, not even a tiny leaf, unless it falls by itself." These promises are just fantastic because they take this big abstract concept like environmentalism and turn it into highly actionable, concrete steps that literally anyone, especially a kid, can understand and follow. It perfectly demonstrates their newfound understanding of environmental responsibility. They finally get it.
And that brings our narrative arc to a close in Section 5, Courage and Responsibility, Surviving and Thriving.
So, in the aftermath of the encounter, the campers are kind of just catching their breath. Like one of them says, it was the scariest thing ever, but also kind of amazing. What's really vital to take away here is how they process the whole event. They realize they survived not by running away in a blind panic, but by staying calm, by actually listening to the Guardian and by taking responsibility for their actions. Courage, kindness, and responsibility are the exact tools that help us overcome fear. When we respect the environment and keep our cool in scary situations, we just make better choices.
Which leads us to the ultimate takeaway from our source material today, and it's beautifully summarized in this thought. Nature is not something we own, it's something we must protect. This is the fundamental shift from seeing the world as just our property to seeing it as a shared responsibility. The Guardian leaves them with one final piece of wisdom before fading back into the night. If you respect nature, it will protect you. It's this beautiful, reciprocal relationship based entirely on care and stewardship.
And that brings us to the end of our adventure. But really, it's the beginning of your own. Nature will protect you if you protect it. So I want to leave you with this final question to think about. How are you going to show respect to the environment today? Will you pick up a stray piece of trash? Or maybe just be mindful not to snap a branch on your next walk? Definitely think about it the next time you step into the woods. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will catch